Hi, everyone. My name is Tim, and I'm a product manager at PegaSys. Today, I'll be walking you through what Ethereum Network Upgrades are and what's in store for the next upgrades coming to Ethereum. So, Ethereum Network Upgrades are a way by which the entire Ethereum network can coordinate on adding new features to Ethereum. And the reason that we have to have network-wide upgrades is that given that Ethereum is decentralized and every node on the network runs a copy of the software, if we change the rules of Ethereum or we add a new feature, we need all the nodes on the network to agree on those new rules and to upgrade at the same time. And so this is why we have network upgrades, where we'll specify a bunch of new features we'd like to add on Ethereum, implement them, and then give a specific block for the entire network to turn those features on. So what are the actual Ethereum network upgrades that have happened? In the past, there have been many upgrades. Here are a couple blog posts from the Ethereum Foundations that explain what the upgrades are and what they've added. You can see that the first couple posts here will call these hard forks. So hard forks and network upgrades are pretty much interchangeable on Ethereum. And the second to last network upgrade that was announced was Constantinople, which was coupled with St. Petersburg. And this happened last year around February, or this year, sorry, around February. And ever since January, we've been working on the next network upgrade, which is called Istanbul. So Istanbul is the latest upgrade that will happen on Ethereum, and it's scheduled to happen on block 9,069,000, which you see right here. And this is approximately going to happen on December 7th, 2019, but there's no way to know for sure because the block times on mainnet Ethereum are not fixed. So this means that some blocks may be a little bit longer than others. And so we can only estimate the approximate time on which the upgrade will happen, but the closer we get to it, the better that approximation becomes. So there's actually a countdown here on Etherscan that keeps an estimation up to date in case you're interested. And so this will tell you exactly when the upgrade should be happening. And the way we do these upgrades is through EIPs. So EIPs stand for Ethereum Improvement Proposals. And upgrades are basically a way to bundle several improvement proposals into one block so that all these features go live at the same time. And so here, if we look, we have this EIP number 1679, which is called the hard fork meta. So the upgrade meta EIP for Istanbul. And this will list to us all the information related to this upgrade. So the abstract basically tells us that. It tells us which blocks the upgrade get activated at on various networks. And you'll notice that for the Ethereum mainnet, we always pick blocks which have 3 zeros at the end, whereas for all of the test nets, we'll pick blocks that are palindromes. Just this way, it makes it easy to know if an upgrade block is for a testnet or for mainnet. And so if we look at what the actual improvements included are, you can see we have 6 listed here. This first one is about reducing is about adding precompile for the Blake2F compression function. And what this does is it provides better interoperability with any proof of work network that uses Equihash, the biggest one of those being Zcash. So this will allow Ethereum to validate the signatures in Zcash blocks directly on the network, and will provide better interoperability between Ethereum and Zcash. The second upgrade here, 1108, is an upgrade that will reduce the cost of calling precompile, which will make it easier to run a bunch of both layer 2 scaling and privacy solutions on Ethereum. This third EIP here adds a chain ID opcode so that this way smart contracts can know which chain they're on simply by querying it, so that you can prevent replay attacks on different chains and increase the security of the network. EIP 1884 is an interesting one. So this one will reprice the certain opcodes on Ethereum so that their prices are more in line with how long these opcodes take to execute. So right now, there are some opcodes on Ethereum that are too cheap relative to how quickly it takes, how slowly they take to execute. And so this will just make sure that their gas costs reflect their computational cost on the network. And then this EIP called data gas cost reduction again helps reduce the cost of another opcode, which will make it easier for some privacy solutions such as Starks to be compatible with the network. And finally, EIP 2200 is an improvement on EIP 1283, which was supposed to be added for Constantinople, but got removed due to a bug. And this was an EIP that a lot of DApp developers wanted, which made things a bit easier for them. And so now we've added it again in the upgrade, fixing the bug, of course, under EIP 2200. And so this is what you'll be getting on Istanbul. Again, this should happen around December 7th this year. And finally, right after Istanbul, we're actually going to have another network upgrade on Ethereum called Mountain Glacier. And this network upgrade got put together very quickly over the past couple of weeks because it addresses something that was time sensitive on Ethereum, which is the difficulty bomb. And the difficulty bomb on Ethereum is a mechanism which increases the difficulty of mining blocks on Ethereum at an exponential rate. So typically, for the first year or two of the difficulty bomb, you won't feel anything, the difficulty won't be changed much, but then as soon as it starts kicking in, blocks become harder and harder to mine on Ethereum, which would eventually slow the network or grind the network to a halt, making it impossible to mine. And the reason we want this on the network is that it forces core developers to always be providing upgrades for the networks and pushing back this bomb in that process. So this upgrade will push back the bomb another 4 million blocks, which is about 611 days, giving us another basically 1.5 to 2 years before we have to deal with it again. This upgrade will go live on the Ethereum mainnet on block 9.2 million. And you can see here that a lot of the testnets don't have blocks on them because this is only something we need on the proof of work testnets, which have the difficulty bomb. So a lot of the proof of authority testnets don't have the bomb on them at all. And there's a lot of conversations right now in the Ethereum community about how we should deal with the difficulty bomb going forward. And if you're interested in those, you can read through this section, through this rationale section on the difficulty bomb EIP, which is 2387. With this being said, what should you do if you're using Besu or mainnet and want to make sure you get those upgrades? The best way to do that is to go to a release page on Besu where you can see our latest releases. So the release that you'll need for Istanbul is release 1.4, and you'll want to upgrade to that before December 7th, so in the next week. And the release that you'll need for Mountain Glacier will be our next release, 1.6, and 1.3.6, and you'll want to upgrade to that one before January 5th to make sure that you have at least a couple days before the upgrade goes live. And so that's it for Ethereum network upgrades. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you very much.